Welcome to CARDESIGN.ACADEMY. Today we're going to continue my demonstration series on this Mercedes SL concept and matching aerial vehicle. As you can see, I've added some of the same detailing as I did on the coupe for the aerial vehicle. So I've separated out the glass and started to come up with a front end design which more or less matches the front end on the coupe. So today we're going to focus on some details that really start to bring the vehicle together, give it some dimensionality, and really start to finish off some of those areas that are sort of empty and see-through at the moment. So we're going to start today with the wheel wells. So I'm going to add a new layer. I call it details. And the first thing we're going to start with, I'm going to go ahead and lock all the other layers. Okay, and the first thing we're going to start with is the wheel wells. So I'm going to go ahead and dim the body layer. I'm going to turn on my mirror, and I'm going to turn on ribbon stroke tool, sub D, and I'm going to go with a pretty wide band here. And I'm going to go with a flat black. Actually, I'm going to start with a reflective first, just so I can see the shape. And I'm going to just build out some tubs to fill out the inside of these wheel openings so that you're not seeing through. So you can just sort of match that to the body. And then what I can do is bring the inner edge here, bring it inward. I'm going to go to poly view so I can really see what I'm doing. I'm going to make this as straight as I can. And then I'm going to build the inner wall of that. So I'm going to extrude and shrink. And as I do that, I can just sort of flatten out this inner edge. Like so. Then I can just put an edge loop here. It doesn't have to be too precise because I'm going to make it a flat black. I'm just going to put an extra edge loop here so I have a little more control over how this shape ends. Same thing back here. Then I'm going to go ahead and make that a flat black. And do the same on the rear, just duplicate it. Then I can just tailor it a little bit to fit the rear. The front and the rear are always a little bit different. So now when I turn the body to full opacity, you can see I've got this nicely finished wheel opening. So the next area I'm going to fill out is the lower intake. So for this, I'm just going to create a fairly flat wall surface. Join it at the center. Then I can just bring that edge up so that it fills in the opening. And tailor it a bit so that it fills out the opening really nicely. Bring the center up just a little bit to fill out that badge area. And then the same thing here. I'm going to fill in and again, it doesn't have to be too precise because it's all flat black. I'm just going to try to eliminate any visibility through the openings. So now it's pretty much completely opaque. And then I might just do a quick fill in here. Again, just to eliminate any see-through. What's nice about these flanges that I created is that I can hide a lot of those mismatches, right? So that everything fits together really nicely. So now you can see everything is really blacked out nicely. Might just fill in the side here. Just make sure none of that's creeping into the wheel well. Yep, so now I have a really nicely blacked out opening in the front. Okay, so next I'm going to do a blackout in the rear. I'm going to switch to a clay material just so I can see what I'm doing. Again, I don't have to be too precise. So now I'm going to start to think about lamp graphics. So I'm going to start a new layer called lights, and maybe another layer called light sketch. And I'm going to lock the detail layer. And for light sketch, I'm just going to use my ink brush and start to sketch out what I think this lamp graphic could be doing. And I'm thinking about this three-pointed star, and I'm thinking about how could I integrate the logo into the lighting signature. That's pretty cool. Very progressive. And then for the rear, probably just something very simple. Something like that, maybe. So the way I like to approach lights is, again, to use the ribbon tool. So I'm going to lock the light sketch layer, turn the opacity way down, so I have it as a reference. My sub D ribbon stroke, and just start to build a thin ribbon. So it's very rough, very loose. I'm just trying to get the thicknesses all figured out. What I did is I just put an extra edge loop because I want to give it this sort of bladed section. So now that I have sub D turned on, you can see it's quite messy at the moment. So I'm just going to go in and add additional edge loops. I'm going to play around with the thick and thin a little bit as well. You can see as I add additional edge loops, it really starts to come together. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my sketch reference layer for a minute just to see what I've got. Everything seems a bit thin right now. So I'm just going and adding a bit more thickness. Just controlling the thickness of everything. Okay, now I'm going to do the circle around the emblem. And for that, I'm going to use the revolve tool. A revolve is extremely easy to edit. Using the toolbar, I'm going to use the rotation tool so I can do a precise rotation to match the angle of the front end. And I'm going to just set that back a little bit. I'm sure Mercedes will sue me for messing up their logo, but I always like the idea of a logo that's integrated somehow with the design and not just pasted on the front. Now I'm going to, there's no sub D option. Okay. I'm just going to create a flange surface. Just sort of blacks out in between there. And then the same here. So I'm going to duplicate this this whole thing and grabbing the entire periphery like so. Give it a dark finish and bring it right up against the leading edge there. So now everything is closed out in there. You can see it's totally enclosed. Now I'm going to create that floating pattern. Actually, no, I'm going to go to sub D again because it always causes problems later on when you're going to alias. I'm going to align it more or less with the pattern over here. And then I can just group these and duplicate them like this. Group them again, maybe set them a little further back maybe. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Pretty high tech. That could be an illuminated grill. Very cool. So let's go around to the tail lamps. So turning on our sketch layer again. And do a red reflective. I'm going to turn that sketch layer way down. I'm just going to try to better match this to the body. So the next thing I'll do is extrude the entire periphery. Then I'm going to use my revolve tool again. I like to maybe play a little bit more with thick and thin on this tail lamp. So there you have a quick technique on how to define the wheel tubs blackouts, blacking out the intakes, and starting to map out the lighting details. As you can see, the car is starting to have a much more realistic and complete look to it, but without a lot of work. It's a very quick style, very quick technique. So in the next video, we're going to start getting into the wheel design and eventually the door parting lines. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching CARDESIGN.ACADEMY.